Well, welcome back. It is kind of hard to believe that we're almost in the middle of the year. Here we are in June, but a good time to get an update of what's been happening in the world of real estate. And to do that, we welcome back to the program Norfolk County Register of Deeds, Bill O'Donnell has stopped by. Hey, Bill, good to see you.
Joe, thanks for having me. Always good to be back here in Quincy. And again, thank you to everyone here at Quincy Access Television.
Our pleasure. When I told somebody I was having you in to talk about a mid-year update, I said, "Really? Oh yeah, just pretty much we're halfway through already."
Well, we are, and what I thought I would do is kind of reflect back, even though we're in 2014, to kind of reflect back on 2012 and 2013 as we discuss the first 5 months of 2014. Now, in 2012, in Norfolk County, we had over 201,000 documents recorded. And in 2013, that went down to 180,636. So that was down 20,494 documents, or 10%. The good news, at least in that time period, was that total deeds were up from 16,386 countywide to 17,302. So that was a 6% increase. And so clearly there were sales. As we look at that period from 2012 to 2013. And Quincy kind of reflected that. In fact, documents from 2012 to 2013, they might have been down countywide, but it was 10%. In Quincy, it was only down 3%. And total deeds, again, in Quincy, were up 14% in 2013 over 2012. And the county's number was 6%. So again, Quincy was doing a little better than the county on the sales. But what's troubling about 2014 is that the numbers through the first 5 months of 2014 are worse in many respects than 2013, which was worse than 2012. So the real estate activity hasn't quite been what it should be. For instance, the total docs countywide were 78,012 in 2013 compared to the same 5-month period, because we just finished through May 30th, 51,081 documents countywide in 2014. So that's a decrease of almost 27,000 documents, which is down 35% from, activity is down in these first 5 months of 2014, down 35%. And interestingly, the number in Quincy, document-wise, the total amount of documents was also down 35%, which was which was the county average.
Mirrored what's going on in the county,
And countywide, the number of deeds was 59,000. The number of deeds in Quincy were down. In countywide, it was down 2%, and in Quincy, it was down 12%. So clearly, there were sales last year. I think what I've been in talking to the brokers, they're saying that there's no inventory out there. That yes, there's been competition for what's out there, but that they thought there'd be more inventory. That is more sales, more people putting their houses on the market.
Right.
And why it's not happening? Well, it could be a reflection of again, confidence. And I know we've talked about that before. If you're not confident in your job, or if you're saying, I'd like to get a bigger house, but maybe I'm better off where I am because there's just so much uncertainty in the economy. So on one hand, we hear the economy's getting better, and on the other hand,
not so much. But it's interesting. We've seen record levels on Wall Street. Time after time after time, record highs in the Dow and the Nasdaq and the S&P. Car sales, I know, are at record highs. People are buying new vehicles all over the place.
And
it's
again,
not reflecting.
Yeah, I'm just coming back. As the Register of Deeds, we deal with the community land records now. So I'm just focusing on one sector, the real estate activity, and you can see that in mortgages. For instance, countywide in 2013. There was 17,264 mortgages recorded. In 2014, again during this 5-month period, there was 8,593. That's down 8,671 docs, mortgages. That's down 50%. And interestingly, in Quincy, there was again in 2013 1,723 mortgages, down to 922 over the same 5-month period in 2014. So that's down 46%.
Wow.
And again, the refinancing activity is clearly dried up, and you see that at the registry.
Yeah.
I think many people might have jumped in, back in 2012 when the rates were lower than they are now, but they are still pretty low.
The prime rate is still about the same. Yeah.
Yes, the prime rate's low, and but I think most people probably have already jumped in to take advantage of the lower rates, or knock some years off, or maybe they had some expenses like college tuitions they wanted to deal with.
Sure.
And also, I think there's been a tightening of credit. I think there was some regulation that kind of tightened up the credit to make it a little bit more difficult to get loans. But the mortgage activity is down as well.
How about sale prices, Bill? Do you keep an eye on those at all?
We do, again, but it gets skewed because of the the commercial.
Sure.
In Quincy, for instance, recently there was good news. Cabot and Forbes paid $10.3 million for a 2-acre parcel across from the Quincy Adams MBTA station. I guess part of it is there's a permitting for a 6-story apartment building.
Yes, yeah.
So there are pockets of activity and pockets of good news. And I always try to point out, because when we've come here for a number of years, we're at the height of foreclosures. And
Right.
again, you have great groups here in Quincy that provide counseling to people, whether it's Neighbor Works of Southern Massachusetts or Quincy Community Action. If you are facing foreclosures, you should go to those groups, because they don't charge you and they give you great service.
Right.
But countywide, we had 353 notices to foreclose in 2013, the first 5 months, and the first 5 months of 2014 it was 210, so it's gone down. But the good news is, in 2014 here in Quincy, there were only 17 notices to foreclose filed in the last 5 months.
Okay.
And again, a notice to foreclose doesn't mean they're going to foreclose, but the bank has started the process.
Yes.
That there's troubles for that consumer. So that is one good number that we like to see.
Yeah.
Is that the foreclosures are at least going in the right direction.
At least leveling and hopefully,
And if
declining.
people do find themselves in that, go to our website at www.norfolkdeeds.org, because we, have the links to the groups, and also have links to the Attorney General's office as far as some of the information and some of the programs they have to try to help people stay in their homes and get through that difficult time.
Yeah, it's interesting, you mentioned the new apartment building across from Quincy Adams. There is this tremendous, I heard a statistic where we're going to need something like 100,000 new units of housing in the greater Boston area over the next 10 years. There's this tremendous interest in rental now, as opposed to purchasing single-family properties, because of an influx of new technology and with the workforce that goes with that.
And there's a whole, I'm from Norwood. There was a debate in my town as
Right.
far as the smart growth, because we're on the MBTA, the purple line of
Right.
trying to,
The old Polaroid site there in Norwood, right? Yeah.
But also closer downtown, trying to
Okay.
relook at it, and put housing closer to the centers of town to
Right.
try to keep the centers vibrant, and theoretically people would be able to hop on the public transportation to get in. So I think whether it's in Quincy or like I said out my way, they're looking at the whole housing
Yeah.
stock and how best to try to keep it affordable for people.
Right. Before we run out of time, I wanted to touch on an interesting factoid out of your office, that you recently shelved the 32,000th actual deed book at the registry. So you still have paper, real books at the registry.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're very proud of the modernization initiatives, and we have all our information online so people can look at it. But when it's hard to believe, I became registered in 2002, and it was book 17,033, and I've done in my tenure over 15,000 books, and we're over 32,000 books. So we still, do it the old-fashioned way. In
Yeah.
fact, we're one of the few registries that still print books. I don't want to be the first register not to print books, but so some people still do it the old-fashioned way
Okay.
and go through the books and the documents. But the good news is we also have it on the computer, so people can look at the same information,
Right,
and
yeah.
we try to bring these registry books into people's homes and businesses through the internet.
Absolutely, and if you look at a deed, you will have the book number and the page number, and that's related to this library, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's just on the recorded side.
Right.
80% of Norfolk County is recorded land. 20% is land court or registered land, and by law, we have to retain all those documents, and all of them have been scanned in. We have over 1 million, almost 1.2 million documents when the land court started in 1900.
Wow.
And so all that information, whether it's the books on the recorded land side or the documents on the land court side or all the plans that have been filed, they're all available on the internet. But you can come by and look at them in the books
Yeah,
as well.
it's a great backup too, just in case. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
That's right.
We've taken steps, and actually we do have we're the first registry in the Massachusetts to put a generator in. So it seems nice. The weather's beautiful
Yeah.
today. Winter's a long, distant memory, but during all those storms, we didn't close, and we were able to stay open, in part because of the generator.
NorfolkDeeds.org, you mentioned, or call 781-461-6101.
Yes, you can call us and go online, get some information on the homestead or whatever information you need. There's a lot of good real estate information out there.
Bill, always a pleasure. Really appreciate it.
Joe, thank you very much for having me.
You are welcome.
It was great.
Another quick break on the program. Back with some more community information in just a moment.